Hello everybody, welcome to the MLC. That's the Mr. Limba channel. This is Mr. Limba. I'm choosing to talk about this current event topic that's going on in Charlottesville, Virginia, because I talk about a lot of race related things on this channel. I started this channel mainly talking about relationships, but if you look at my about page, it's really talking to a specific demographic, mainly black men, and of course men in general of any race or any ethnicity. Today, I believe everyone who is sane could agree it is a sad day in the United States of America. This clash that happened, my thoughts are pretty much what you see up there. It's why nobody had to die. Nobody. Black people didn't have to die. White people did not have to die. Right wing, left wing, conservative, liberal, moderates, nobody had to die. Natural born citizens, immigrants, nobody had to die. Upper class, middle class, or straight up below the poverty line, nobody had to die. Those who were the counter protesters against the white supremacy protest, or march I should say, did not have to die. Those who were marching in favor of white supremacy, in favor of not removing the statue, in favor of not removing anything resembling or reminding anyone of the Confederacy, they didn't have to die either. Now, I'm pretty sure the person who died was from the counter-protest group. But my point is, I think our society has lost its vision and its way, and we have minimized the value of human life. We easily take away human life. Over what? Over ideologies, over the way we think, because someone disagreed with us. No physical action was being taken to physically harm anyone that called for this march or that called for this counter protest. But yet someone had to lose their life. We as humans in general, regardless of race, our value on human life is too low. We easily kill one another, and we easily move on. We go home, we have a bowl of cold milk and cereal. If we don't get caught, we feel no guilt, and we move on. Whether it is war, just simple clashes of race and ethnic groups in the United States of America or across the world, religion, sex, we easily take the lives of one another. We have lost our way as humans. That is to even assume we even had our way to begin with. Nobody had to die. Nobody. This is my point of view when it comes to these marches and these protests. Whether it is Black Lives Matter or the KKK or in a pro-immigrant group, whether it is an anti-war group, this is my view. When I look at history, and those who know what I speak about in my channel, oftentimes you realize I will quote things from history and I will refer back to history because we can learn from history. So what I picked up from history is that usually in these marches, in these protests, no good come out of it unless you are fighting to change something in the legal system, meaning something in government. If a law is being signed that will not benefit a certain group of people, then yes, these marches are usually effective. And even if they're not, it is worth the possibility of the chaos that you might face as a participant. However, I believe we are now protesting too lightly. Now, I don't believe hate, especially when it is off of social media and it is in the streets, it is in your neighborhoods, is something that should be ignored. But I believe there is a wiser way of going about things. Because if you have a march of those who support certain monuments that were from an era that supported a certain ideology that is no longer accepted in our society, at least we hope that's the case. Speaking specifically of racism, slavery, and so forth. Now, some may argue the war between the South and the North was not about slavery at all, but about economy. But we also know that the slaves were a big part of the economy, especially the economy of the South. So, when you have these kind of people in the streets and they are marching, many of them, whether they deny it or not, hate the guts of anyone who does not look like them, believe like them, was born in the same place that they were born in, and have the same faith that they have. Many of them don't like your guts. So when you counter protest, your blood is boiling, you are hot, you are sweating, you are thirsty, you believe you are right, you believe in your cause, you're not going to take any bull. Now let me ask you, with that mindset that you come to this counter protest with, to counter those who are marching in the name of white supremacy, what do you expect to happen? Now, you heard me say already, nobody had to die. Not the counter protesters, not the white supremacists. Nobody had to die. A police helicopter, I believe, also crashed, and 2 persons also lost their lives, making a total of 3 persons who died today. Why? I don't believe we should be unwise when approaching these situations. I believe there are many black intellectuals, Hispanic intellectuals, Asian intellectuals, Jews who are intellectuals from the Jewish people, who could have came forward and gotten an interview from many national or even global news organizations and networks that would gladly give them an interview, giving you a chance to speak without much interruption, to speak in the AC where everyone can sit down and actually hear what you have to say. You are counter protesting a hate group, not over some law that is about to pass that is going to oppress your neighborhood, but because of their stupid ideologies, their hateful ways, their misplaced fears. You think you're going to change the minds of men who are in their 60s, clearly out there with gray beard, men so old, I hate to be so visual, but they don't even have their pubic hair anymore. The junk fell off a long time ago. It's not even gray, it fell off. That's how old they are. Older than your grandparents. They're not changing, but their ideologies are also not the laws that we have in place. At one point it was. And do not get me wrong, there is racism in government. There is racism in the laws that are signed. But it is not so blatant. It is not so blunt. We can keep fighting this on an intellectual platform, which is why I make this channel to elevate the black man. Not to the idea of white supremacy to create a version which is black supremacy. No. But to elevate him intellectually, to make him wiser. To make him wiser when it comes to his family, to his women, to his children, to his pockets, the money that he brings in, to history, to politics, to the stock market, to nature, to everything that affects mankind. That is why I make this channel. This is why I decided to make this. And I made it something that is beyond a rant on the black woman. This is why. We have alternatives. We do not have to be on the streets counter protesting someone who might shout out the N-word. You already angry, my brothers, my sisters. You already pissed off. The white man and the white woman who also support our cause. You are also pissed off at their ways. So when they shout out that you are an N-word lover, maybe they spit in your face. Maybe they say, I'm going to enslave you again and I'm going to rape your women again. Things that are going to incite violence. Things that are going to get you aggravated and pissed off. What do you think you're going to do? Logically, you're hot, you're in the sun, you're thirsty, you're marching, and these people are in front of you and they're spewing hate. You're probably going to go back and say something to them. And you guys are going to build that tension. You're looking into their eyes, their pupils are dilating, their eyes are all red. You're going to clash. If you notice, they told you that the police presence was not even that strong out there, because the police know that whichever side they end up touching, guess what? That police department is in trouble. They're playing politics. Yes, they're there, but the presence probably could have been a lot higher. Yeah, they were in the chopper. And it is a shame that that chopper crashed. I'm not sure if it crashed and killed 2 people or if it is the officers who were in that helicopter who lost their lives. Condolences to the families that lost their loved ones. Both white, both black, both white supremacists and those who stand for change and unity. I wish death on no one, and I do not even hate those who hate me. Nobody had to die. No one had to get injured. This was not a bill. It was not a law being passed to oppress anyone. It was trying to push a law into place that would remove certain monuments that are perceived as hateful or that represent an ideology that is oppressing and suppressing others who live in this country, others who have fought to make sure everyone have a right to march and speak in this country. An ideology that stands against certain groups in this country because they are different. That is why that march took place, and that march was to keep that statue in place, to keep these Confederate flags in place. Yes, there are some hate groups out there, there's no doubt. But we have ways to counter this, because the news media will give you a lot more coverage than you're getting out there in the hot sun. The only coverage you're really getting is because you're causing a clash, bringing more publicity to the cause of those who are racist. You're giving them more publicity. I agree that it is a righteous cause for you to oppose things and persons deemed evil. It is a righteous cause. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how you go against the opposition or about such opposition have repercussion. I'm sure everyone who was out there protesting against the white supremacists, I can assure you that they all agree. If they could do it all over again and stay home, and it would have saved that young 32-year-old woman's life, I believe she was 32, that they would have stayed home. I believe they can agree if it could have saved the people, 2 persons who were in that chopper helicopter crash, that they would have stayed home, that they would have gotten a news interview instead. While you are on CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they could be reading tweets from everyone who is black, Jewish, everyone who is Hispanic across the nation, who are tweeting their views and how they detest this march of white supremacy and racism. We really do not have to be out there on the ground, physical, boiling tensions, spewing profanity, and throwing up middle fingers in this modern time. Now, if they're passing a law that says something that will be oppressing the people, then we need to be in front of their Senate, Congress, in front of their capitals in different states or in Washington, D.C. itself. But to be jumping and opposing a hate group, chances are they're going to get under your skin. Now, a piece of advice that I could also add to what I just said is, I believe when we do these counter protests, and I'm saying we because I'm on the side that loves everyone, we should have people who are in charge of organizing those protests in a line, in formation, locked arms, wearing a specific color of shirt, standing in front of that line and everyone else in the back. Because you do not want instigators who are going to lose their cool in the front lines. Because these are the people that get riots going on. Because they get spat on and they lose it and throw a punch. We need people that can keep their cool. People who organize these things need to be in the front line with a separate shirt. A separate color shirt, that is. So anyone who is on your side in part of your protest that is in that front area that does not have that shirt on should be moved behind the personnel with that color shirt on. So everyone knows to stay in line and to stay intact. Directing the crowd to move forward or backward. These things have to be better organized. Now, in my humble opinion, certain groups like the KKK should have been labeled as terror groups a long time ago. This invisible empire. Now, I understand some of these guys from the white supremacist side say, we don't hate anybody. They say that they are just separatists. Some say that they're not about supremacy. They just want to be left separate from everyone else. Well, that's very simple. Mostly what they mean by that is not breeding with other people. Well, just don't. Keep your penis and your vaginas to yourselves. Done deal. See, the truth is, they're trying to separate schools. Which honestly, I'm not sure even if black people really care. But when they do separate schools, when they do separate workplaces, the parts that are colored, the parts that are Negro, the parts that are black, Hispanic, foreign, they don't get fundings. They're at the wrong end of that stick. It is another way to systematically oppress people. You separate them, who's going to get the bigger slice of the budget when the state balance their budget, when they pass a new budget, when the federal government passes their budgets? That's the problem with that. I'm sorry if I'm holding you guys too long. I'm going to go ahead and try to wrap this up and let you guys go. I know you're busy. But I had to share my thoughts. Why did anyone have to die? Now, some may misunderstand what I'm saying and go, well, it sounds like you're blaming the counter-protesters. What I'm saying is that they need to be wiser. Because you can't expect the hate group to be the wise ones. They have proven they're not. But I'm saying there is a way you can speak on what they're doing. Assuming the media was even giving them any attention to begin with. Just think about that. I want us to be wiser. Don't be in these streets, guys, getting killed, getting arrested, getting beaten. And you know what they're doing that whole time? Because they know this protest was going to take place. They knew these marches were going to take place. Yeah, they were buying prison stocks ahead of time. Yes, there are prison stocks. Wherever there's going to be a protest, people are sitting there buying prison stocks. Because some idiot is about to get himself locked up. They're probably buying stocks in the local morgues, hospitals, because they know somebody is pretty much going to get hurt, killed, or imprisoned. It's still a money maker. It's just that the rest of us minorities have no clue how the system works. So we get out there, we shout, we lose our voices, we get arrested, we lose our jobs, we get beaten and we get killed, and nothing gets solved. No one is really teaching our people. Our brothers are still in Chirac, killing each other. Liberty City, killing each other. In Cali, New York, killing each other. And yet we still don't know our rights. We still don't know when we should fight, when we should just remain silent and watch what's really going on. I can't hold you guys too long. I'm going to let y'all go. This is Mr. Limber, with much love to everybody, of every race and every ethnicity. And to my Israelite brothers, y'all know what's going on. I'm out.